given how Stranger Things is such a, big production for Netflix, it's now going into its 4th season, what do you feel a comic book series brings to that?
This is actually going to be our 3rd comic book miniseries that we've done. And the first one, we got to tell a familiar story from a different perspective. So we got to see everything that Will went through in the Upside Down, how he was the only one who made it out alive. And the first season especially, he was just sort of the missing kid. He was sort of the object of the quest. And this was the version of the story where he got to actually be the hero. And then our second miniseries was a flashback that actually introduced some of the other kids in the program before 11. And our new miniseries coming out is called Into the Fire, and it takes a further look at some of those other kids. And it's also going to be the return of 8.
The creators of the show have, they've built a big book of everything that's coming out. So how much freedom do you have within it to tell your own stories?
I mean, we've been given actually more freedom than I expected, honestly, especially in terms of creating new characters from the program. Really, the one restriction we got was we couldn't use the number 1. And other than that, any other number was up for grabs. I was able to put in a 9.5 because there's a set of identical twins and one has powers and one doesn't.
So I'm curious why you're not allowed to do number 1 in particular.
I mean, so am I. That was just sort of the one note, and I'm just like, I can't wait to see what that's all about.
There have been a lot of stories that have been told about, Harley and Ivy together. Can you tell us where your series finds them and what their dynamic is like?
Okay, so the Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy miniseries actually takes place directly after Heroes in Crisis. And so a lot of this series is them sort of figuring out, where they stand now. Ivy's trying to sort of get back to herself because, she grew back from a flower. That's weird. And she's much more plant-based than she was previously. So even the quiet moments too, there's a scene in the first issue where they're just sitting across from the breakfast table having a conversation, and she brought just so much emotion to it. And that's really where the whole journey for the two of them in this miniseries kicks off. So it's not as exciting as the big punch action scenes, but if you can bring that sort of level of drama and emotion to those moments, I think that's really where the stories grow out of.
Which ones do you prefer to create? The quieter, more introspective moments or the bigger action scenes?
I mean, I kind of like the quieter moments that then get interrupted by big action scenes. And, you always want to surprise the readers if you can. So if you get them really sucked into like the sort of quiet conversation and then boom, something explodes or someone comes through a wall, so you got to throw the big punch in there too.
In your work on TIE Fighter, you get to work with characters who are unequivocally a force for these horrible evils, and we see things from that perspective. What has challenged you as a writer trying to craft characters that we're meant to at least connect with on some level while also being on the side of a horrifying empire?
I mean, that's the thing. It's like you have to remember, even if they maybe went into what they're doing with the best intentions, they're still on the wrong side. It's like they may think they're the heroes, but they're not the heroes. Sort of showing different ways that people would think that the Empire was in the right, even though they're obviously completely wrong, but, showing those perspectives, because I think that's sort of interesting stuff to play with.
So how do you bring your own personal voice into characters that have been around for so long, that had so many different versions and iterations come out?
I mean, I think all of us sort of have almost like a composite image of a character in our mind. You want everything to feel cohesive, even though it's representing so many different creator voices.